SCP-3547, a dream of our beloved, or as I prefer to refer it, the Night Emperor. Now, the Night Emperor, in a nutshell, is a powerful entity that is currently trying to make its way into our reality. It can only be seen via dream, but we're going to go into that a bit more here in this video. Now, the reason I'm showing you a picture of this rock is because subjects who have come into contact with the Night Emperor via dream have reported finding rocks left behind similar to this one, and supposedly these rocks make up part of the entity itself. Now, let's start at the actual SCP explanation. Now, this here is my rendition of the Night Emperor. It is supposedly an entity with multiple tendrils, similar to hair in water, and a face. Supposedly, people become nauseous when they view it, but yet they cannot look away. It kind of reminds me of being on a ride at the fair that would give you motion sickness, but you're still enjoying yourself, if you know what I'm talking about, if that makes any sense. Now, we start out with a paragraph saying that this SCP is no longer contained. They were previously stating this SCP is contained and safe because they thought it could only be encountered while wearing this crown here. This is a crown with 8 blue gems in it, and when subjects wear this crown, they have a much stronger connection to the Night Emperor. Now, as I stated earlier, one must sleep in order to encounter the Night Emperor, and when one wears the crown, the encounter is greater and stronger, and the person who is wearing the crown generally wakes up wanting to help the Night Emperor more and praising the entity more. Now, there is also a book titled Dreams of Our Beloved, where it states that the way the Night Emperor can enter our world is someone would sleep whilst wearing the crown outside, be struck by lightning, then the entity may or may not appear. Now, the Foundation has not done this procedure because they do not want the Night Emperor in our reality, and I agree with them. I think it should stay wherever the hell it is. Now, when subjects awake from the dream, they recall meeting the Night Emperor, and they are always insistent that the Night Emperor is here to help us, it will bring peace, and it needs to be brought into this world. And the only way that can happen is if everybody sleeps. Now, this being the Foundation, they're obviously skeptical of entities encountered in dreams, and they're saying, yeah, that's not going to happen. We're not all going to sleep. How would we even do that, you know? Now, at one point, 2 D-Class are put under. They meet with the Night Emperor, and when they wake up, they are both saying the same thing. We need to free him. They begin talking in unison and doing some very kind of bizarre stuff. And then they say, this is when we find out that everybody must sleep for the Emperor to come through, and these D-Class are promptly terminated. Now, skip ahead past the D-Class experiment, and we are given a, what would you call it? A journal, in a sense, from a researcher who was stuck at a computer because of what happened with the Night Emperor. And this researcher is incapable of sleep and slowly starts to lose grip on reality the longer they're at this computer. Now, in the end, the researcher is saying, I think we betrayed him. Referring to the Night Emperor, obviously, but you can actually click the link in him and it takes you to a totally different SCP article. Now, the SCP in the link is SCP-1798, which is a plant that, when consumed, is kind of akin to the effects of melatonin, but with a hallucinogen added to it, so they get really sleepy, but then they trip balls when they're sleeping. Now, after 3 weeks of having this stuff in your system, after you eat it for the first time, your veins and other stuff begin to be replaced, by this plant thing. And now this plant is supposedly directly related to the rock that we talked about at the beginning of the video. And as we recall, the rock is the remains supposedly of the Night Emperor. Now, there is an interview done with a person who ate this plant, and the interview itself isn't super important, but what is said at the end is, what's said at the end by the person who ate the plant is, there's something out there, I think we killed its baby, and the something out there also has a link. Now that link leads us to the Slumbering Prince page, which is basically just another explanation of what the Night Emperor is, and that's where we see the picture of the rock, which is supposedly the remains of the Night Emperor. Now the article on the Slumbering Prince is the last piece of information we are given about the Night Emperor, unfortunately, and I cannot find any more intel on it no matter how much I dig. So I'm going to go out with my own theory like I normally do with SCPs, and I'm going to say that the Night Emperor at some point was trapped in someone's subconscious a long time ago, probably by somebody who used to worship it or who was aware of it. Now that it's trapped in that person's subconscious, it is in the subconscious of everybody. It's in the dream reality, the dream realm, whatever you want to call that. Now, on the topic of that, there is also an afterlife in the SCP Foundation, or there's more than one, but the one that I'm thinking of right now is known as Corbinic, which, without going into too much detail, there was an SCP talks about a researcher. She died, she went to Corbinic, she was able to communicate with the Foundation after death, and there were some other strange entities in Corbinic and some other stuff. It's not super important for this, but this SCP could possibly be in Corbinic, waiting, trying to be released, and the only way it can get released is if all of us sleep and dream about it. Another thing about this SCP is, obviously, if you know about it, you're going to be more likely to dream about it than if you don't know about it. So the less people that know about this, the better. Funny thing is, there's no protocols in the write-up of the Night Emperor SCP where it says the less people that know, the better. Now, do I think the Night Emperor is on a power scale capable of destroying all life? You know, one of these god tier SCPs, whatever you want to call them? I'd say probably not, due to the fact that it needs everybody to, or at least a large amount of people to know about it and to dream about it in order to escape. And that leads me to believe that it's not super powerful. And there's also other SCPs that are similar to this, but they have other ways of getting out of the reality that they're trapped in, and they're a lot more powerful than Night Emperor. So I would say this SCP is more of a not a multiversal threat. I'd say it's more of a just a worldly threat, perhaps. It's probably capable of wiping out all of humanity if it was brought into our world, but there's probably other SCPs and other entities that could stop it. Anyways, that is my summary on SCP-3547, aka the Night Emperor. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me know what you think of the SCP and of my explanation of it and of my SCP videos in general. If you like them, if they suck. Any feedback is appreciated. I will talk to all of you later. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.